Michella Chester here with NCAA Digital. I am joined by Elizabeth Grimsley, the founder of College Gym News and editor-in-chief. We just had the semifinals for the NCAA Gymnastics Championships, and now we are headed into the team finals on Saturday. I want to break down the semifinals and look ahead to Saturday with you, Elizabeth. So first of all, on Saturday, we've got Oklahoma, Utah, Florida, and Auburn. Let's start talking about the first semifinal. What are your thoughts on how that went? Utah advancing over Alabama. We thought that was going to be a tight race. And then, of course, Oklahoma. What did you see there?
Yeah, so like you said, Utah and Alabama were expected to be kind of fighting neck and neck coming into the semifinal, but Alabama had a little bit of a misstep on vault. It didn't score as high as it normally does, so Utah sort of took advantage of that and had a lights-out beam rotation. Even though it had little places here and there, it didn't matter, so it advanced with Oklahoma. And, I mean, Oklahoma. It's done what it's done all year. I think it had its fourth consecutive 198 plus. And I mean, that floor rotation was pretty stellar. So it's going to be so exciting for the final.
How about the second semifinal? Florida trailing. I think they were fourth after the first rotation. Then they come back to not only qualify, but win the semifinal. And then Auburn qualifying over Michigan, the reigning champs. So any surprises there? What did you think of that semifinal?
Yeah, I mean, Michigan is certainly a surprise. And I'd like to say that it was a huge surprise, but it's had little tiny moments throughout the season where it might have been off here or there. But, I mean, when the reigning champs don't make the final, it's always going to be an upset. But, I mean, Auburn, definitely the biggest surprise. Suni is really leading that team. I don't think anyone expected Auburn to be this good, this fast with her. And making the final is pretty extraordinary for that team. And then Florida, I mean, like you said, in last after the first rotation, they didn't have the best vaults. It wasn't like a bad rotation, just steps here and there. They even started out bars rough, and I think that equipment issue that had the long wait period sort of like reset it for them, and they were almost lights out after that. I mean, super strong beam, super strong floor, and of course Trinity Thomas, their leader. They really, I think they're still the ones to beat.
So you touched on it a little bit, but I want to expand on it a little bit more. Trinity Thomas wins the individual all-around title, floor and bars. Suni Lee wins the title on balance beam, and then Utah's Jada Rucker on vault. So what did you think of those performances, first of all? And just how much do those individuals affect their respective teams? Because you might notice every single one of the individual national champions is on a team that's in the finals on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild. I think this was really Trinity Thomas's time. I said coming into this meet that she was the heavy favorite after her regionals performance, and I mean, she showed it here. Winning 3 individual titles is pretty wild. I think she's the first Florida gymnast, at least, to do it since Bridget Sloan in 2016, and everyone knows who Bridget Sloan is, so it's pretty impressive. But I mean, I think without Trinity Thomas being in the all-around, Florida is not a completely different team, but it's definitely not as good and not as much of a favorite. And then Jaden Rucker, I mean, I feel like during the regular season, she's kind of hit or miss, but she just knows how to turn it on when it counts. So that's very exciting to see from her. And I think she's a big boost to Utah if she can do it again. And then, I mean, Suni Lee, she's obviously known for her bars, but she's been really stellar on beam this year. I think she has more perfect 10s on beam than she does on bars this season. But she's obviously, I mean, like I mentioned before, she's like a huge help to Auburn, and she's a big reason why Auburn is in the final.
Okay, so let's now look ahead to Saturday's final. What do you think each team kind of needs to execute in the finals? What's important for each one of these teams to come out on top?
I guess I'll start with Utah. So Utah kind of had a lackluster bars rotation. I don't think they scored over 9.9. Like, they had 2 9.9s, but they didn't score above that. And they had a couple of like 9.8s and 9.7s. So I think if they can perform to their potential on that event, that'll easily boost their score up a little bit higher than where they finished the semifinal. Auburn, I know it's silly to say because it finished so close to Florida in the semifinal, but I think it had the meat of its life, and it's going to need to repeat that if it has any chance at the title. But I mean, you can't really count out any team because they're all so close and so good. I mean, Oklahoma, gosh, yeah, I can't really imagine Oklahoma getting better. I feel like it just really needs to just do its thing, and the other teams will have to perform better than they did to match it. And then Florida, I mean, like we mentioned, the Fulton bars rotations weren't as good. So, I mean, if they can clean up those landings and not have those little mistakes, I think Florida is going to be right up there with Oklahoma as well.
Are there any key routines that we should maybe keep our eye out for on Saturday?
Oklahoma's floor rotation, if Belle Johnson, who's their leadoff on the event, if she can hit 9-9 again to sort of like start it off, I think hitting 9-9 in the leadoff is, I mean, it's pretty impressive because you sort of want to build the scores. And if you're already building from a 9-9, that's pretty great. So I think if she can do that again, then Oklahoma is really on its way. And it starts on floor. So I think it'll be a pretty good telling about how the meet is going to go for that team. And Utah, I mean, any of those bar routines that didn't really perform, I think Crystal Issa in particular had a bit of an issue. So if she can perform to her best, I think Utah will be good as well. And of course, if Jaden Rucker can stick her vault again, repeat that performance, then I think that's going to be a big boost. Let's see for Florida. I mean, any of those that fell, but I think if Trinity Thomas can repeat even a little bit of her performance from the semifinal day where she won the all around, that'll be good for her. And then I think in terms of Auburn, just sort of like its supporting players. Suni Lee obviously does really great on all 4 events, but she sort of needs like her team. She's just one gymnast, so she needs her team to kind of boost her as well. And I think if everyone is firing on all cylinders, then they can be up there with the 3 other teams.
Okay, and lastly, Elizabeth, I don't really want to make you make any predictions here, but like just a little bit, what do you think of the team finals on Saturday? Who do you think is going to be kind of fighting tooth and nail for the title? Who's going to be the front runner, in your opinion?
Well, I can never count out Oklahoma and KJ Kindler. I've learned over the years that even if you don't think that Oklahoma has a team that can win the title, it's going to have a team that can win the title. But I've said Florida all year long. I predicted Florida before the season even started. So I'm going to have to go with the Gators to win the title on Saturday.
And you should get some kudos for that. I mean, you picked Florida kind of, even if they don't win, they've been a front runner all season, and now the front runner headed into the team finals. So kudos for that.
Thank you.
All right, Elizabeth. Well, thank you so much for breaking this down with me, and looking forward to the team final on Saturday.
Great. Thank you so much.